You are standing in front of a shelf. The tag says, was $199. Now, $139. 30% off. You feel the small, familiar pleasure of having caught a deal. Here is the problem. You do not know what that product costs to make. You do not know what a competitor sells it for. You do not know anyone who has ever paid $199. The number you are comparing against is not a price. It is a weapon. This is the anchoring effect. The first number you see, a price tag, a list price, an opening offer, a stated salary expectation, attaches itself to your judgment and pulls every estimate you make afterward toward it. You believe you are evaluating the real value of the thing in front of you. You are actually evaluating distance from the anchor. The anchor does not have to be accurate. It does not have to be relevant. It does not even have to be real. It just has to arrive first. The effect was documented in 1974 by Amos Tversky, Tversky and Daniel Kahneman, in the paper that built the modern field of behavioral economics. Their experiment was crude and decisive. Students watched a wheel of fortune spin. The wheel stopped on a number between 0 and 100. The students were then asked, what percentage of African countries are in the United Nations? Higher or lower than the wheel's number? Then, give your best estimate. Students who saw the wheel stop on 10 gave a median estimate of 25%. Students who saw the wheel stop on 65 gave a median estimate of 45%. 20 percentage points of spread, generated by a number a carnival wheel produced while the subjects watched. Tversky and Kahneman later tried paying participants for accuracy. The anchor still moved the estimate. They tried telling participants the number was random. The anchor still moved the estimate. In 2018, the Many Labs 2 replication project tested 28 classic psychology findings across 36 countries, with more than 15,000 subjects. 4 separate anchoring effects were among them. All 4 replicated. The size of the effect is smaller than the 1974 figures. The existence of it is not in question. Now consider how this tool is used against you. The strike-through price on almost any consumer product is an anchor. The retailer prints a higher was price, draws a line through it, writes now next to it, and the shopper walks away believing they saved 30%. The Los Angeles city attorney sued J.C. Penney, Sears, Macy's, and Kohl's in 2016 for systematic false reference pricing. J.C. Penney had already paid $50 million to settle a class action on the same practice. Kohl's had paid just over $6 million. Wayfair has been sued 4 separate times: 2016, 2023, 2025, 2026, for running prices that are on sale nearly every day of the year, which means the strike-through is not a reference to anything real. Amazon faces the same suit over its list price field. The lawsuits keep winning. The practice keeps paying, because the anchoring effect is worth more than the settlements. In 2001, Adam Galinsky, and Thomas Musweiler, had MBA students negotiate the sale of a chemical plant. They measured the correlation between the first offer made and the final settlement price. It was 0.85. The opening number did more work than every argument, every counter, every tactic that followed. This is why professional negotiators open first and open aggressively. Now consider the compensation interview. In 2011, Todd Thorsteinson, Thor Stein's son, ran a study with 206 participants negotiating salary with a job candidate. When the candidate began by stating that she wanted $100,000, implausibly high for the role, the average offer was $35,385. In the control condition with no stated number, the average offer was $32,463. A number explicitly framed as a joke still raised the final salary by nearly $3,000 a year. This is why Massachusetts, California, and New York City have all banned employers from asking about prior salary. The legislators read the anchoring literature. Your brain does not do this because it is broken. It does this because estimating an unknown number is an expensive cognitive operation, and any available starting point is cheaper than reasoning from first principles. Fritz Strack and Thomas Musweiler showed in 1997 why arbitrary anchors still work. When you see a number and are asked whether the true value is higher or lower, your brain tests the anchor as a hypothesis. Testing it pulls up every memory and association that is consistent with the anchor. When you then produce your final estimate, you draw from that freshly activated pile of anchor-consistent information. The estimate is biased before you open your mouth. This is called selective accessibility, and it is why the mechanism does not care whether the anchor is informative. Merely having considered it is enough. 3 techniques have measurable, published effect. In order. 1. Consider the opposite. Before accepting any anchor, a price, an offer, a salary request, explicitly generate arguments that the anchor is too high or too low. Musweiler, Strack, and Pfeiffer showed in 2000 that this single intervention substantially reduces the effect because it forces the brain to activate anchor-inconsistent information. 2. Build your own estimate first. Look up the market price. Check a competitor. Know the typical salary range before you walk into the room. Any independent number you generate yourself partially blocks the anchor because it has already occupied the cognitive slot the anchor was going to fill. 3. Training works. Carey Morewedge, and colleagues showed in 2015 that a single 60-minute interactive session reduced anchoring susceptibility by about 32% immediately, and the reduction was still measurable 2 months later. 1 session. 1 hour. 2 months of partial immunity. What does not work is being told the bias exists. Wilson and colleagues tested that in 1996. Subjects who were warned about anchoring and explicitly told to resist it were anchored anyway. Awareness alone is worthless. Go back to the shelf. The tag still says, was 199. Now, 139. Nothing about the tag has changed. What has changed is that you now know the 199 is not a price. It is the first move in a negotiation you did not know you were in. The only question that matters is the one the tag doesn't answer. What is this thing actually worth? If you can answer that before you read the tag, the anchor cannot land. If you cannot, it already has.